What's up, people? We are back with more of Danganronpa. The class trial of Chapter 2, Chihiro's murder, is about to start as we are standing in front of this giant red door. But before we actually enter it, I want to say one thing, which is I'm really wondering how this class trial is going to be going, because I have a feeling it's going to be quite different from the first one. Because in the first one, we were the ones, Makoto was the one that's being accused of murdering Sayaka, right? So we had the burden of trying to absolve ourselves from those accusations, because people were suspicious of us. They were like, yeah, she was murdered in Makoto's room, blah 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 blah. So it's gotta be Makoto, right? So we had the burden on us to try and relieve people from thinking that we are the ones that killed her. Whereas in this case, yeah, we are one of the few people that like really went to investigate in depthly and thoroughly. Like Byakuya did it. Myself, Makoto did it, and Kyoto did it as well. I'm not sure the rest. I feel the rest were just kind of, Mondo and Sakura are doing a thing. They're just making sure the core. I mean, I feel like we've divided the roles pretty fairly. So I guess we're kind of a head investigator in that sense. But I'm just really wondering how it's going to be going, and if it's going to be any different from the first one. Because, there's less urgency for us personally to try and solve this case. Nevertheless, I'm still going to be doing my best, of course, and Makoto will do it for sure, because everyone's life is on the line. But it's just a little bit, it's less personal because we're not directly being accused ourselves of the murder. But yeah, before we go into this, our two suspects were mainly, if you watched the previous video, it was mainly Toko, either because of the split personality, thinking, yeah, Genocide Jack is the killer, Genocide Jack is among us, so and Genocide Jack actually had a split personality disorder, or dissociative split personality disorder, whatever. Toko seems to fit that bill the most out of everyone, right? She's the one that's acting the strangest, and it definitely, like, the words that she said, I will try to not let the Genocide Jack take over, or something along those lines. So those words definitely point to the fact that perhaps Genocide Jack could be an alternate personality of Toko. We don't know. And then the second suspicious person for me, which actually became suspicious towards the very end of the investigation, was Byakuya. Because Byakuya knows a lot about Genocide Jack, right? He says like, oh yeah, my family, so how is part of the special council or whatever that has access to all these secret files and whatnot. So technically, he knows everything that Genocide and everyone else in that secret council, as the police and everyone, he knows in depthly how a Genocide Jack murder would look like and what it would look like. So he has the ability and the power to make a murder like that look like it is actually Genocide Jack. Therefore, therefore he is not suspicious and putting the blame on someone else. Like, perhaps he could have even altered the library documents. It seems a bit far-fetched, but I think it's something that could be possible. Like, he is the person that spent so much in the library, and there was a lot of vital information in the library, and yeah, I just feel like he might actually be capable of that. So those are the two persons at the moment to kind of look out, but things can always change throughout the entire case. So yeah, I think I'm going to be recording through it in just one go, because I don't think it's going to be really hard. I think it's going to be really hard personally for just try and stop in the middle of like this intense court class trial, and then I kind of lose the flow of things as well. So I'm just going to play through it. Like if it lasts 2 hours again, like the previous time it did, 2.5 I think or something. So yeah, I'm just gonna play through it in one sitting, just solve this murder, gonna solve it right, and then split it up in like 3 or 4 videos or something. So yeah, moment of truth, let us go. Huge red door.
Ahem. So, is everybody ready to what? Am I blind? Or are we missing someone?
Yo.
Yeah, Toko's not here.
Huh? And Toko is?
You really don't remember?
Come on! Kidding! I'm just kidding! How could I forget that little nut job? She's a crucial part of the class trial this time.
What are you gonna do?
Okie dokie. I'll go ahead and drag her out of here, kicking and screaming. Just one moment, please.
Uh-oh, what is he gonna do? And just like that, a few minutes later, he reappeared dragging Toko behind him. Dang, she is pissed.
I told him I didn't want to, but he forced me. I can't believe you would drag a girl around. Terrible! You're terrible! So now everyone's here, right? Okay then. Hustle onto the elevator and let's get this show on the road. I'll see you guys down there.
Let's go.
So, shall we get going? It's time to find out who killed Chihiro. Chihiro Fujisaki. She was so gentle, so calm, and meek. Nobody had any problems with her. Someone made the choice to kill a girl like that. And that murderer is one of us. Someone standing right here. Oh god, thanks for making me even more uncomfortable around everyone here. Especially when we're all cramped up in this tiny little room, you know? Right. I gave you plenty to work with. Show us how far your logic can take you. See, that's the thing. That's the curious thing for me as well, right? That puts more suspicion on Byakuya. Because he, actually approached us to say, oh yeah, we should work together to try and solve this case, right? And he knows how good I was because of the first case. So he knows that I'm kind of good at this, right? So therefore he can use that to his advantage, saying okay, I'll put one of the good detectives in our group, put him immediately on the wrong foot, point him towards all these the direction that I want him to go, which is not my direction, and therefore taking away all the suspicion from him. So yeah, that was a very questionable move from him as well, because I don't think he was he would normally be that kind of person that would just okay, I will go with Makoto, I will go with Makoto to solve and investigate together, you know. But he seemed really eager to show me the ropes and yeah, this is look what I found. He was really eager to show all of that. So yeah, it's 50-50 for me. So I don't know. Alright, Celeste, what do you gotta say?
There is something odd about Toko's behavior. I don't think mere shock is enough to explain it.
Right, Hina, hiding behind one of Celeste's drill hair or tornado hair.
I guess I wasn't much help at all in this one.
Kinda. Alright, Toko, you crazy woman. Yeah, that about sums up Toko in one grunt.
Hey, come on.
That's Toko. Fucking Toko, man. What's got her so worked up? Fumi, tell me how you feeling, man.
Very sad.
Miss Fujisaki, I must admit, for being 3D, she was quite remarkable. Of course, just the idea of 3D makes me cringe.
Do you make yourself cringe too, Hifumi? I don't know why the killer did what they did, but
Count on it.
I'm sure it'll work itself out. Justice always prevails. Right, bro? I hope with bro he's talking about Tumondo, right?
Shall we go?
Alright, we shall begin. After I talk to Sakura and Hiro, well then, I will uncover the villain who performed such heinous acts on a weaker individual. Right, Hiro? I feel like he's been kind of half invisible as well. I haven't felt his presence at all throughout the 2 chapters so far. Except his freaking, what was it? Like a magic ball or whatever, that crystal ball was of more of a importance and factor in the entire game so far than Hiro has been, which says something, right? So yeah, you ready? We're doing this? Alright, let's go. We're gonna go into the elevator. We have no choice, right? We have to do this.
It's true.
Yes. I gave a small nod in reply. With one last deep breath, I walked towards the elevator on shaky legs. With each step forward, I could feel my heart starting to race faster and faster. As soon as everyone was on, the elevator began to descend. I couldn't get a handle on my emotions. Couldn't stop speculating. Here we go again. The steel box sank with heavy clunking sounds deeper and deeper into the grounds. And as we went deeper, the uneasiness in my heart grew bigger and bigger. The elevator was unaffected, however, and continued to descend without hesitation, until finally, ding dong, it came to a sudden stop. That was actually my microwave.
What do you think? I redecorated it. Isn't it so fresh? Isn't it so exciting?
Don't waste our time with stupid questions. Let's get this over with.
Very nice. Good. You're rip-raring to go. Gotta say, I don't hate it. Not at all. Well? Okay then. Let's get this show on the road.
Thrills, chills, kills!
Everyone, please find your assigned seats.
And so, the curtain opened once again. A deadly judgment, a deadly deception, a deadly betrayal, a deadly riddle, a deadly defense, a deadly fate, a deadly class trial. Alright, let's save, pre-trial prep, let us go. I'm ready for this. Truth bullets. I guess we can quickly go over things again. Monokuma file number 2. That was basically about Chihiro, how she died and everything. The victim. The time of death was around 2 a.m. The body was discovered in the girl's locker room on the second floor of the school. There was a blow to the head with a blunt object. She was instantly killed. Sakura's account. Although Sakura, right, the fact that she wanted to work out and Sakura actually asked her to come along with her, but she declined every single time. Despite this, Chihiro had stated that she desired help with her efforts. She may have been meeting someone in the locker room the night she was murdered. Yeah, she avoided them. She avoided all of the girls, basically. Locker room dumbbell, most likely the murder weapon. The floor down the letters, significant amount of blood on it. Mondo's account. That's the thing as well. This is a heavy dumbbell. The killer must be able to, be able to lift such a dumbbell to the height. And the fact that she can put so much power on it that it deals a killing blow, Because I imagine, if you are holding, even if you are very weak, and you are using all your strength to carry a heavy dumbbell, but you don't have the strength to actually swing it and put more force behind it, then it's not going to give a deadly blow. And it's just a really heavy object falling onto a person. That's with a dumbbell like this at least, that's not going to kill it. With the dumbbell this size, you actually have to put a great force behind it, meaning to be able to put that big of a force behind it, you actually have to be strong enough to both hold it, carry it, and be able to move it in such a way that you can place a lot of force behind it, and then bam! So, it's gotta be someone that's kind of strong as well. Mondo? No, right? I don't think so. Mondo's account. Chihiro had told anyone willing to listen that she wanted to get stronger. Some assumed that due to her inferiority complex about being weak, she admired strength more than anyone else. So that kind of points as well that she was kind of, if she were to be meeting someone, it would be someone that you would expect to be that would know their way around the gym. Sakura could be one of those, but she actually flat out said yeah, we offered help. And Sakura seems to be a lot with Hina as well. So either Sakura and Hina are working together, but as we mentioned in the previous case as well, and Monokuma mentioned as well, that working together actually isn't that beneficial because only one person gets to escape. So I don't think that's going to be the case with Sakura. Card reader. To unlock a room, you need to swipe your e-handbook. You need a male student handbook for the boys. Yep. Additionally, lending someone your handbook is a violation. So the card reader was basically just you need e-handbook, and you're given one specific to your own gender, and you can only enter with your own e-handbook in your gender's locker room, right? Like Makoto's a guy, he can only enter the guy locker room with his own e-handbook. But the thing was, we found other main hall e-handbooks, which are here basically, of each student that has died in place of the mailbox in the thingy. And then we had a broken one. One of the broken handbooks found in the main hall has been broken, which is apparently a rare occurrence. Junko and Sayaka's handbook both seem to still work, so it is assumed that the broken handbook is in Leon's. However, Monokuma claimed it's very unlikely that Leon's would have been broken. So something is happened to it, which has caused it not to work, but it's not considered broken according to Monokuma, because there was one specific weakness that Monokuma mentioned that the e-handbook has, but we don't know what it is. But he mentioned that despite the fact that there's a black screen, it's not turning on, at least to our eyes. Maybe the screen is just broken, but the machine is working. Something like that, I don't know. But according to Monokuma, it's not broken. And then we got the Genocide Jack case files, includes, are those names important? Ken Harada, Tetsuhiro Honda, Shoji Gaku, I don't know. They were killed in the same way and mounted to a nearby wall. The word bloodlust was found at the scene of each crime, written in blood. Profiling indicates the killer is likely a student suffering from a split personality. So, Aoi's account, Chihiro seems to have kept consciously kept distance from all the other girls since the very beginning. Meanwhile, it had been noticed that she got along remarkably well with her male classmates. This was kind of, we had a theory that Chihiro might actually be a guy, and this is one of those things where like you're always more comfortable with the same gender and sex that you are, right? Because when you're younger, you tend, it's not always for everybody of course, but you tend to be hanging out with the same, like if you're a guy you tend to be hanging out with a lot of other guys and boys, and as a girl similar, right? So that's the gender you tend to be very comfortable with. Therefore, it was kind of strange that Chihiro, despite being a girl, we're just gonna call her a girl because we don't know 100% sure, yeah, despite being a girl, she's not really comfortable around girls and more comfortable around boys. So then we got the boys' locker room carpet. The carpet in the lawyers were with a blackish stain on it, and in the girls' 2 locker room posters. So this is a really interesting theory, was that basically we think the murder happened in the guys' locker room, and that because the murderer wanted to make it seem like the murder happened in the girls' locker room, he actually switched everything, including the poster and the carpet. So those are the two things that were switched in both locker rooms. So in order to do that, they actually have to have access to both locker rooms as well, meaning they must have used one of the e-handbooks that was in the main hall. And we have Chihiro's e-handbook, which was not found and has apparently gone missing. This is an important thing as well, obviously, because without having her handbook, we can't actually know her gender, because, you know, even though we're still gonna say she's a she, Chihiro is a girl, if we knew her handbook, we can 100% confirm it, right? But we don't have it, so it's still kind of up for debate. Status of the dead body had been suspended, and her hands had been bound with some kind of rope. Her fatal injury was a blow to the head. Yeah, in kind of a crucifix manner. Disappearing stain, mentioned that she was responsible for a coffee stain on the girls' locker room, so basically the ones that were switched, right? The coffee stain, she said it happened in the girls' locker room, but for some reason, suddenly that stain appeared in the carpet on the guys' locker room. That makes no sense, right? So the library desk lamp, the extension cord was missing, which is apparently what we think. It seems most likely, at least, that Chihiro was tied in like, you can see that, right? The kind of quote-unquote rope around her hands. That is most likely the extension cord that was in the library. And then Celeste's account on the night of the murder, nighttime. Celeste spotted Chihiro leaving the warehouse. It seems she was stuffing some blue exercise clothes into a duffel bag. Presumably she was on her way to exercise, but the clothes were not found at the crime scene. Celeste had not told anyone other than Makoto about this encounter. Alright, so that is basically it. I went through all of the truth bullets there. I might leave it in, I might not leave it in, or I'll just put like a timestamp if you want to fast forward through it. But that's kind of an interesting thing, like, because those truth bullets are interesting for me, because it's a preparation for me to be on the top of my game during this class trial. But is it interesting for you guys to watch? So I kind of want to hear your guys' opinion on that. Do you just want me to read the truth bullets to myself, only to myself, and just, you know, that you guys don't see it, so I'll just read it, leaf through it very quickly myself, and then cut it out, and then, you know, just start with the case immediately? Or do you guys actually want to hear me recap through all of the truth bullets? Because it's I can imagine some people might find it interesting to know as well, because then they can be like, oh yeah, I remember that for last time, and they just get a fresh memory right before the class trial. So yeah, just let me know what you guys' opinion are on that. What is set skills? I have no idea what this actually is, and we've never actually used this. But robot jock increases your truth bullet rate of fire, effective during your non-stop debate and the bullet time. Final battle strike. Okay. Any other skills that we have? Melodious voice increases damage to the opponent when the statement is destroyed, effective during the bullet time battle. Vocabulary increases bullet capacity, effective during the bullet time battle. Okay, so these things are actually useful skills apparently. Cost 4 SP. Increases bullet capacity. What does that mean exactly? Increases the damage. Nah, that's during the clicking, right? With the rhythm game. I feel like I got that down. That shouldn't be a problem. Increases your truth bullet rate of fire. Effective during a non-stop debate, and this seems like the most useful out of everyone so far. Unless, can we select multiple ones? Oh, we can select all three. Why don't we just do that then? What was I so worried about? Right, let's finish preparations. Let's get the show on the road. Trial! Alright.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay then. So, first off, let's talk about the murder weapon!
Murder weapon!
First, we have to make clear what was used to deliver the fatal blow. Alright. Make your arguments. Locker room dumbbell. Yep. That's the only one available.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Interesting. That certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
Poor Chihiro.
It has to be a contradiction, right? The weapon had to be at the scene of the crime. There was something with a blood stain on it.
Chihiro's, it appears it was.
According to the Monokuma file, what kind of blunt?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Bam!
No, that's wrong.
Break, dance.
Can
on
we
the
agree
floor.
that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell, found at the scene of the crime? It was covered in blood, and there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that kind of injury.
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this one.
Yes, Kyoko's on my side.
Looked at her head wound?
Yeah, it's called investigating, Hina. You should try it sometimes.
Yay! That's so creepy!
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already quite clear.
Sure it is,
What?
Byakuya.
For real?
Chihiro's killer is
Dun dun dun! Drum roll, please.
the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack.
Genocide Jack. The fiendish serial killer. Did he really kill Chihiro? A new element has been added to non-stop debates. We'd like to hear more. Absolutely. For this debate, lines of white noise will appear to disrupt your reactions. Your truth bullets will disappear if they hit these lines, so think of them as obstacles in your debate. There's a way to keep this white noise from getting in your way. Press right mouse button to attach the silencer, which you can use to shoot down the white noise. However, if you shoot an actual remark with your silencer instead of the white noise, the time limit will decrease, so take careful aim when you have your silencer out. Alright, oh, but if your action difficulty is set to gentle, white noise won't appear at all. I don't think I have it at gentle, in which case you can all forget about the silencer and just focus on the situation in front of you. Well then, good luck and have fun. How do we slow things down again? I know how to speed it up with control, but how do we slow things down? So, Genocide Jack case file.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure of it. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so, speaking of Genocide Jack, I don't know who that is!
Pay attention, Hifumi. It's been mentioned a couple of times already. The thing Byakuya showed me in the archive, one look at that, and anyone would be convinced. It shows that it was the work of Genocide Jack.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure of it. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it
I
impossible?
think I know which one it is.
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
What?
Hey, so
what?
speaking of genocide, I don't know who that is.
How did that miss? I really forgot how to slow things down.
The culprit is Case closed.
But that's impossible.
Why? What makes...
Well, I mean, there's just no proof for it.
Bam!
No, that's wrong. I might know one reason he could be involved.
What?
I found this file while I was looking around the archive in the library.
It's funny that we say I found this file, despite the fact that basically it was just, Byakuya's like, look at this file behind me, dumbass, I'm pointing almost right at it. Like, Byakuya really wanted us to find it. He was really eager to just, lead us there and actually almost just put us in front of that book, shove the book in our face and just, read it, damn it. So, it's kind of funny that Makoto actually said himself that I found it.
I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the Genocide Jack case.
What? That's kind of weird as shit, isn't it? What was something like that doing in the library?
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth, so let's forget about that for now. More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every Genocide Jack case in exceeding detail. According to the file, there appear to be two defining characteristics in every Genocide Jack case. The first is that a bloody message is found written at the scene of every murder.
Oh, that's right. Boob lust.
Boob lust? Boob lust.
No. It's actually bloodlust.
That's something I suffer from sometimes. The boob lust, not the bloodlust.
But more important is the other characteristic, and it's something that has never been made public.
Never made public? What the hell is it?
Why don't you tell them, Makoto?
You were doing a good job. Why do I have to tell it? The other characteristic of every Genocide Jack case, which the world at large doesn't know, if I'm not mistaken, it has to do with the positioning of the body, where the murder took place, how the victim was positioned, the bloody message left behind. It's definitely the middle one.
I got it! Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
As far as Byakuya has told us.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware of it? There's only one logical answer I can think of. It's because the culprit in this case is the real Genocide Jack.
The real Genocide Jack.
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes, Celeste.
Yes, in fact, it's Toko.
Dang, Byakuya coming straight out with it. Holy crap, dude.
What?
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa.
Alright, case closed. Can we end this?
You lie!
What? Hey, okay, wait, hold on a sec.
I'm actually surprised. We saw a quick glimpse of Monokuma there, right? I'm actually surprised he's not just, sitting there with popcorn and just stuffing it in his mouth like, oh yes, this is delicious entertainment.
Toko has, bloodophobia or whatever, remember? What kind of serial killer is afraid of blood?
That is actually an interesting thing, right? Because Toko herself has bloodophobia, as Hina calls it, but it could be that her other split personality is just almost like the complete contrast of her, and which is why she's actually the Genocide Jack version of her, if we want to call it that, is so obsessed with blood and writes bloodlust and whatnot with message of the victim's own blood and stuff. So that's kind of an
Toko
interesting
Genocide Jack?
contrast.
The answer is yes and no.
Another riddle? Man, Why is this gotta be so complicated?
Cause you gotta pay attention, hero. You can't just, skate by and just do nothing while I do all the work, huh? It's a riddle for sure, but I feel like I understand it. What it means for Genocide Jack to be Toko, but also to not be Toko. The answer is that she's not just one person, but multiple people, right? Yep. Hangman's Gambit. Oh, here we go. Alright. What? What? He? The first one is an S. See, he? She... Schizo? Or skits? Apparently not. Skits... Oh, there we go. Schizo.
Now I understand! Is it because Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file too. They thought that the suspect might have, what did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is...
Perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
The one thing that shows Toko could have a split personality, it has to do with her behavior. Her behavior changed. Oh, what happened? Yeah, her behavior changed, right? Because she went all crazy. So I think her behavior changed.
My God! You're talking about how she started acting totally different than usual, right?
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then, when she woke up...
I'm fine. Oh, is that a dead body? Hey, are you dead?
She must have hit her head real hard when she fainted.
The world has a front and a back, a top inning and a bottom, and a sea of truth and a web of lies. This is, quite concerning. I mean, she sounds completely different.
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely disappeared.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can't handle blood, and one that obviously can.
Yep, that's very true.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared of Genocide Jack?
I won't let Genocide Jack have control. I'll drive out the killer and drive out the murderous fiend.
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
How?
Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation.
Oh, you never told me about this, Byakuya.
She told me a most interesting story.
What is it?
She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time.
But why would Toko tell that to Byakuya? That makes no sense.
And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie. Right, Toko?
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
Wow, she actually did. Okay. Dang.
What?
You promised! I can't believe you lied!
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you to. This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy fairy tale. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise...
Oh, I remember that.
I'm sorry. I couldn't keep our promise. But don't worry. Never again. I won't let Genocide Jack have control ever again.
You said if I kept my promise, you would go out with me. That's the only reason I promised.
How many times do I have to tell you? I never said that. But you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing, could you?
I tried! I swear I tried to control it,
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
I hate you.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
The person? You don't mean...
Genocide Jack, come on out.